All right, we are on air. Happy January 19th. This is our first meeting since release Backdrop 1.6, so we'll have like a little woo, but then later we'll do a bigger woo because we're gonna have another meeting with more people. But anyway, I'm excited. So thank you everybody for all of the amazing work that went into that, and especially thank you, Tom, for writing the amazing blog post. Nate came up to me yesterday and he was like, "Oh no, we still need to write the blog post," and I'm like, "Oh no, it's up," and he was like, "What?" So that was awesome.
So yeah, that really was the most pleasant surprise I had probably all week. It's like awesome. Not only was it written, it had all the screenshots and everything. Yeah, fantastic.
And thanks, Gregory, for going through and doing an update on that too. It was an amazing team effort where we didn't have to do anything and you guys did all the work and then it was done and Nate was happy, and that's always good. So good job. All right, so this is our design meeting. So we're here to talk about various design related things for Backdrop. And we have two big items to talk about, one of which is currently underway, and that is the backdropcms.org homepage / other stuff redesign. And so part of this came from, we originally wanted to have a new homepage, and then we realized we couldn't deal with our drop-down menus or our non-drop-down drawer type menus responsibly, so we wanted to switch to the new menu. And because the menu goes all over the whole site, it ended up being there's quite a lot of stuff that's changed in the new design. But we ran into some issues with the site that Wes had mocked up with all of the new theme stuff in it, and then a lot of the current theme stuff was missing. And so I was like, well, I'm not sure if it's missing on purpose or if it's missing like this is a new design. And so I thought it would be good to kind of talk about how to handle like significant design changes. Like if we want to have a design committee of people who are responsible for like saying, hey, you know, we don't like this sidebar in the like documentation pages and maybe we should make it fancier, or like there's a new footer and it looks really cool, and we should have people that are empowered to just make changes like that to the site as needed, so we don't have to do like an entire overhaul if we don't need to, but if we want to, we can. I'm not going to answer that. It's probably a package. But yeah, so just we don't really have a process for that. And I know that during our initial backdropcms.org redesign or initial design, but it wasn't a design, we did have a way to like review all the designs and then like iterate. And now that the site is live, we haven't done that because I thought we were just adding a new homepage. And Wes, I know you said you didn't do very much work, but it looks like you did a ton of work. Like there's so many details that are like got a little more flourish in them than they did before. And I'm like, wow, like that. It looks to me like, I mean, I'm not a designer, but it looks to me like it took a lot of time and thought. And so I would like to kind of give that the attention it deserves and figure out like how to iterate in a way that makes the most sense. So where we're at now is that we ran into a problem with the hero part on the homepage. The color was blue, and our brand is specifically not blue because Drupal is blue. And so then we're like, well, maybe we can change the color, but you can't just change the color. It kind of messes the whole design. So we got Nika Lorber, who used to be one of the main designers of Chapter 3. She had some available cycles, and so we asked her if she would design the hero image area for us, and she has some ideas about maybe switching to like a purple that's pretty close to blue, and so it might not disrupt the rest of the page. So she's trying that now. I had a meeting with her Tuesday, so yes, 2 days ago, and she's working on it. We're supposed to have a check-in today at 3. And I also said, if you have any other feedback, like let us know, but she seems to think that most of it is pretty close to on brand. And so she's not going to design anything else for us, I don't think, but she is going to point some things out that she thinks might help. Like we were also having trouble with textures, and she thought that if you added colors to the grays, we might not need textures in the grays. So we'll see. I don't know. I'm not a designer, so I'm probably not saying that right. We'll see what her feedback is and see how much we can take. But I think the only real blocker right now is figuring out the banner area on the homepage, and everything else we can iterate as needed. So that's fantastic. And then, yeah, I don't know. You started building all of this already. I didn't put a link to your site in here because I didn't have one handy. But I don't know how we want to handle like feedback review updates to that. I know right now there's a link in the main issue queue, but I think it might be better to do rather than trying to have like the whole community do a design review, we should like decide on a design and then have the whole community do like a technical review, like oh, we missed the design says to do it this way when there's that. I don't know. Just because it's really hard to get a community consensus on design. I don't know. Maybe everyone else isn't worried about this. I'm just like,
yeah, no, it seems like it's actually going kind of that way already. Like we put up the demo at borgwestrove.com, which I think is fine that you just used whatever was available to you immediately. Thanks for actually going through the effort of putting up something. But it looks like the feedback that we've gotten back thus far has all been about technical stuff. The menu has problems opening, you know, there's some alignment things, which, and the only design feedback we've had was very tentative, that it's just like, actually it wasn't even, well, I mean, he's saying that the font size is too large, but that's, I mean, that's hardly even, you know, and it was a browser discrepancy. So even that was technical. Okay. So I think that our community, at least the people that are providing feedback, they're all kind of in the same boat as we are, that they're like, I'm not really qualified to be making design feedback, you know? And so that's been nice that we haven't had any opinionated, like, I don't like it kind of comments yet. But you're absolutely right that we can head that off by having the designs kind of, you know, be a little bit dictated to us rather than being subject to our opinions by a designer, basically. And since we have the designer that will be doing that work, I think that'll head off most of those problems. We basically can just say, send the design, and you know, we trust the designer, and that's what we have to do.
Problem.
Oh, but I thought you were saying that Nico was going to do an iteration at least. Are we not going to get something that's actionable from that? Like there's not going to be a document that comes out of it?
So there's a lot of stuff that is different that hasn't, like we're talking, I asked Nika to look at the homepage, and in particular the hero. Mm-hmm. But there's a lot of stuff that's different. And I don't know if we want to have her look at like sidebar style, footer style, button style, the font changed. Like there's just a bunch of stuff that is different that I don't know, like if we want to go through a whole design process or not.
Right. Okay, so what's the outcome of her looking at something?
She's going to make the new hero image, because that we knew we needed help with, and make some recommendations on the homepage itself. Okay. Like how to separate different areas. Like we currently have like a gray box, and we tried to add some texture, and we're not sure about texture. How do you do that? And so she's looking at like that file, like that homepage. But there's a ton of stuff that I think, you know, probably deserves an update, but I don't know how to go about like reviewing. So I made an issue queue just so that I could keep track of it. All of the things that are significantly different between the current site and the new site. Mm-hmm. And the issue queue was really more for brand changes than design changes. Because I know we spent a lot of time before we did any design at all working out Backdrop's brand. And so I don't know if like we need to update the brand or change the style back to the old brand. Like that's, I feel like, out of my realm of understanding.
Right. Well, I do think that the theme that Wes has put together is largely, correct me if I'm wrong, Wes, but is built from scratch rather than iterating on our current theme. Is that right?
Yeah. So it's easier to build something that kind of plays into basis. It's easier and it'll be easier to maintain if it plays off of basis than if I mix in the existing site styles, because they don't have as good of a
Structure. if you will.
well, somewhat structure, but also like they're some of them are based on containers that may not be there because all the layouts have changed because we don't have that menu, or like they have higher specificity and that like can be a headache. So to me, it was like, all right, I'd rather just like the layout's still the same. All I'm doing is skinning the thing.
Yeah.
So, meh.
So is it accurate to say that like the places that we have stuff that differs from the existing branding is more likely just an dental omission rather than like you intentionally changed it to something else, right? Like things like the like
Font.
The font was
maybe.
just what came with basis and
Right.
Yeah.
So like we
So-
have our own font for our own brand, and so that should definitely be added.
I think that they're all open sans.
No,
isn't
they're
it?
not.
Oh.
No, the one on the
Ours-
Oh, you're
site.
right.
brand
You're right.
font
Source
is
Sans
Source
Pro.
Sans
You're right.
Pro.
You're right. You're right. Yeah.
Yeah, so that was part of the theme, but I didn't identify that as part of the font because that's not documented as being part of the brand. And I think
Yeah.
I brought that up with like the brand is kind of the skeleton right now. Like there's a lot of the foundational stuff is there, but it's not like filled out. I don't have, if you think of like, I don't expect Coca-Cola, for example, but like, the kind of like spacing usage, like interplay of different elements, like that kind of stuff. And like even the colors don't necessarily have a hierarchy. There's just 6 colors
Yeah.
kind of thing.
Yeah, but some other things that I could pull out, like the share links down at the bottom. That's just because it's like the default share
I
style.
think those aren't
Like,
styled. Yeah, the footers.
Yeah.
yeah,
Footer I didn't touch yet. There's a lot of
Yep.
stuff that I didn't finish, but it was like, okay, this is fairly different, and I don't know if there are bugs, and I might as well push it out. It's like good enough
Yeah.
for people to look at, basically.
Yeah. Yep, and structure. I mean, it adds some really key things. Like the entire navigation being moved is how this whole thing got started.
And the new layouts.
And the new layouts. And from that perspective, this is like totally a home run. I mean, there are some bugs in the navigation, but the layouts are a much better situation than what they were previously. Where even now on the live site, if you navigate to some pages that aren't accessible through the navigation, but they're still there, like sometimes their layout just totally borked, and at least that problem is resolved. So I do think that our next step,
So I don't know if
one step is get Nika's feedback, but simultaneously we should also start reincorporating the styles that haven't yet been moved over from the existing site, which has our branding, onto the basis based theme. That's just a little bit of a tongue twister. The basis based theme, just because that will, I think, ease a lot of concerns about the branding changing, because the brand change isn't really what we're going for here. That's just a side effect of how this thing has been built thus far.
Okay. But if there is something that we don't like about the brand that we do like about the new theme, do we have a process for like just change it?
I think those items, we should reincorporate everything we can from the existing site, and anything that is left that is like a change that we're uncertain about, then those are the things we can ask Nika on.
Okay.
Does that sound good?
Okay.
Which I think that'll eliminate most of it. Like probably 3/4 of our differences right now are just a side effect rather than intentional.
Okay. I don't know. It looked like some of them look, I don't know. There are some things like the sidebar where I'm like, wow, this new sidebar has like this fancy like vertical decoration thing.
That was just like
I
I don't
liked
want it to
it.
look like bulleted lists. So like it was just like like a basic theming of what was there. So like yeah, it's like
Yeah,
yeah, I
so
put some
what's
work into it, but I was amused and like yeah, I'll make this not look terrible.
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, but again, it's almost like you know, the styles that were added there, like in the sidebar, that's being consistent with Basis' styling, you know. But
Right.
and again, kind of just like a snowballing effect of this is what was there, and I made it consistent with what
And
was there, kind of thing.
and also that specifically was like okay, this used to come from the menu navigation on the side, and how do I make it so it's this section is still usable, but like if you look at the current menu, I'm not happy with going to handbook, seeing a very bare page, and then having to press
Yeah.
about or backdrop developer guide. Like there's still like a lot of awkwardness in there. So this was like to me was like this works. You can navigate around, and like it doesn't look terrible.
All right.
Yeah. Okay.
Well, okay. Well, then in that case, Wes, is there, how can people help you? Like, what's the,
I think the theme and everything is far enough along that people, if they wanted to, could just start hacking on code because it's just a branch in the repo.
do you want to do code reviews on that? So I feel like I could write CSS, but I'm not sure I can write it as cleanly as you want it.
Yeah, no, totally. Yeah, I'll totally code review any CSS.
Okay.
I don't have to. Like, I'm not, you know. But yeah,
Yeah,
I mean,
but I feel like if we're doing it right, we should, you know.
yeah, right. No, I'm totally willing to do that. But like, don't consider me a blocker, is what I'm saying. Like,
Okay.
Yeah.
I could definitely make sure that the theme won't be a point of pain when we're trying to maintain it in a couple of years, right? So I would
Okay.
love to code review.
That sounds good.
Okay.
All right, so then where we are now, I'm talking with Nika at 3. I don't know, Wes, if you want to be on that call, but you're more than welcome to. But I think she's just going to play with purples and see how that works.
It'd be a good idea for us to just, side note, to update to 1.6 as well,
Okay, that's a good idea.
because that may have some minor impact.
Yeah, because of normalize.
Yeah, but because this is inherits in Basis, nothing should happen, supposedly.
Famous last words. And then I think like we can probably continue with implementation, and when we get the new hero thing, we can worry about how to do that. I expect it'll probably be an image. We can figure out if we want to do like background image and text, or I don't know how you've done it currently, but hopefully we'll just be able to swap it out.
Yeah.
I'd like it to not be an image, but we could talk about that.
We can.
Like it should be semantic markup.
Sure. I can do it to Wes's standards. We'll let you figure out how to do it.
I would love to have godlike control over the homepage. Everything else I'm way less specific about, because like yeah, just because there's a lot of glossy things there, and it still should be like search indexable and accessible.
Yeah.
And like I would like to be able to like do stuff where like I said, like if we keep the computer element, like the screen element with like the different sites in it, like maybe that could be a carousel. Like I'd like to be able to do stuff like that. Like if I get bored or something.
Oh, I see what you're saying. You're saying you just don't want the entire thing to be an image. Like yeah. Got it. Yeah.
Okay.
How is this little dragon and stuff positioned right now? Anyway, are these? Like
that's
elements?
all one image. That's all one image.
It is all one image. Okay.
But like, yeah, I would basically just make the screens like divs with an image, and those would cycle, and like the rest of it would just stay still.
Yeah. Fancy. That's one of those things that like I had intended to do on like a couple of sites, but it's always just like.
Yeah, right. I may not get to it, but it's there, and I could do it.
Yeah, you're starting to really get into eye candy land. Yeah.
Progressive enhancement plus.
Yeah. Okay. All right. I think I'm pretty satisfied with our position on the website. Jen, anything else?
So the only other thing I want to talk about is that we are starting to think about adding a forum to backdropcms.org. And there will be some design elements in user experience review stuff coming from that. We don't really know what that's going to be yet. We're going to have a meeting today at 1:30 when the weekly meeting ends, we're going to do a spin-off. Let's talk about a forum meeting. We try and figure out what we actually want our forum to do. But I did want to just say that there will be some design work related to the forum coming soon. So if anyone has any ideas about how to make a forum less ugly, I'm definitely open to help in that area.
Okay.
All right, as usual, there are a ton of things that could use updating in terms of design on backdropcms.org. You can check the issue queue, which is the backdropops/backdropcms.org. Also, if you find things that need updating or working on, that is the issue queue for our primary website. And then we have a bunch of stuff related to outreach. If anyone wants to look at that, there is a tag in that issue queue for audience outreach, I think. So people who are interested in helping us with outreach can find those issues. And then we also don't have any new updates for the current version of Backdrop because Backdrop 1.6 just came out on Monday. But we will soon have a bunch of issues for Backdrop 1.7, so I'd recommend checking out the milestone for that one on GitHub, and that is the Backdrop /backdrop-issues queue, where we do work on Backdrop itself. All right, is there anything else anyone who's joined this meeting wants to talk about? It looks like Tom had a question about the menu structure. So we had talked about kind of reorganizing our menu items, and that I think is good to do in conjunction with the new theme rollout. I would just say, I'm gonna look at this issue real quick. This is issue 313.
Yeah. There was in 313, there's some discussion about how to arrange the top level menu items and the sub items and the smaller menu, since we don't have the sidebar going as well. So that's what I was referring to.
Yeah, I'd love to see that change. I put my thoughts in there, and yeah, I think, yeah, I would like to see the word "about" in the menu, because I just think that's a good heuristic kind of thing, and yeah, I think we could take advantage of drop downs better.
Yeah, a lot of it, I think, centered around the confusion I was having between handbook and guidebook, and we kind of flushed that out. And certainly on the new design, you just put samples across the top, fillers for the menu, but I didn't know if we were going to change that up or if that was just still an item for discussion.
Yeah, just real quick for the dev site thing that I put up, I just kind of did the minimum because I knew this was a discussion. I didn't want to do anything that I would have to change. So either we decide to table this or we decide, that we want to take a crack at updating it, and either is fine.
I would love to take a crack at updating it. I feel like I need to read through the issue and see all of the different discussions and reasons, but I have no strong objections right now. Tom, I would say use your instinct, and yeah, it looks fine. No, we're definitely open to changing it. I don't know that we have consensus on what it should be changed to. I don't know that we can have a consensus.
If we wanted to head towards some consensus, is there a method that you guys go about doing that other than putting it in the issue queue and saying?
Usually we just argue back and forth in the queue until we reach something, okay. Which is not necessarily the best way to do it.
I think it'd be good to have a point person for something like this, just like design. This is user experience, and I feel like it's good to get lots of opinions, but it's bad to try and make a committee decision.
Yeah. Tom, do you want to be point person on that?
I would gladly be the point person.
That would be great. Okay, I'll redo that issue and add some comments later too, but I agree it needs to be changed. Don't know what it should be changed to. Empower Tom to do the changing. Anything else we should talk about? Okay. Well, why don't we wrap this meeting then? Next week, hopefully we'll have, I don't know, next design meeting. Maybe we'll have a new theme. Maybe not. That's 2 weeks away. Sounds like both a lot of time and no time at all. Think about it. Like it's so much time. Oh my God, it's not enough time. We'll see. I think we're pretty close. I love where we're going, and yeah, I'm excited to see how it progresses.
Okay, great. Let's call it. I posted an update to the backdropcms.org redesign issue with the summary there. Please make sure that my statements there are correct. But that's it. Thank you everybody for joining once again, and we'll see some of you guys in just about 25 minutes for the developer call. So thank you.
Thanks, everyone.